G'day and welcome to part 21 of fixing the Jaguar 420G. We've got the head off. That was very stressful. It zinged off just like a 22 caliber. It just went bang and then it was off. The point of getting this far right was to do a leak down test on the on cylinder 2, and we've confirmed our suspicion. Cylinder 2's piston rings are 100% without a doubt broken. Before I just go ahead and take this engine out, so take the hood off, get the crane, lift out the engine. Before I do that, I wanted to see if I can take the sump off of this engine without taking the engine out, which might be a bit of an ask. I looked in the service manual and it says that you need to drop the front suspension out as a unit like we did with the rear suspension and cut it out so that we can have space to examine, or rather take off, the engine sump. So that's what I've got on jack stands at the moment. It's just to see how I'm taking the sump off, if the sump can be taken off, and if I can't, hood off, engine out. So we've got the cylinder head off. There you go, there's a look at the engine. To my surprise, the coolant galleries aren't corroded. I thought that was going to be an issue, but fortunately, very fortunately, they're not. The block surface actually looked really clean. The gasket, the head gasket, was too destroyed after that violence with getting the head off that it's impossible to ascertain whether the gasket was ever an issue. If it was blown out between two chambers, I wouldn't know anymore because it's just the lines are too blurred. But the surfaces look good. Every piston wall looks fantastic. There's no scoring on any of them. Even on the broken cylinder, the one with the bad rings, that's not even scored where the broken rings are. I'll put up a video now of it failing the leak test, which shows you that this cylinder definitely has ring issues. What a normal piston looks like with non-fucked rings. What a piston with fucked rings looks like. Fuck me. The head studs, all corroded. Every single one of them. These two head studs in particular are banana shaped from all that incessant fighting. This is going to be tricky because I'm going to have to knock out a Welsh plug here that lines up with this stud. Where is it? Got to knock out this Welsh plug, put a left-hand drill bit into this bore and see if I can drill out that broken stud. So that's going to be fun. Not really, but something I've got to do anyway. Other things I need to do while this whole intake is off, something that you don't realise with these engines until their head is off, is the fact that from here to that wheel well there, it's completely covered by the massive, gigantic cylinder head and intake manifold. So all of this is inaccessible until the head comes off. So, well, effectively inaccessible. So, to that regard, I want to take the starter motor off for a clean. I want to replace this hard line here. I've got to reseal the oil filter housing. I want to tidy up where the wires route so I can, again, easily access them. I want to do something with that steering shaft there, see what I can do about these oil lines here. Plenty of things I need to do under here. Oh, Paris steering hoses. I'll have full access to that now, so I need to do that when possible. So, the cylinder head's here. Just such a wall of stuff going on here. So, looking at it, there is some damage to the to the water jackets. That can be welded up. Some blocked passages, but generally speaking, it's really good. It's not really much I can complain about. Some holes blocked here, but that could all be blasted out with a pressure washer. Yeah, that casting will need to be filled in. The valves look like in fantastic condition. All these valves, none of them are recessed or chipped or damaged or anything, so that's in excellent condition. The intake manifold, great. During my struggle to get this off, I've actually snapped the, not sure if you can see that, the fuel bowl off of the carburetor. I'm going to have to glue that back on or get it welded or something. Fucking aluminium casting. But yeah, that got knocked off while fighting this. You guys don't even know half of it. It was so hard to get the cylinder head off. I'm just glad it's here. So that, I'm going to forgive myself for that. That's not ideal, but well, what are you going to do now? So welcome to the underside of the car. We are looking at taking the sump off, which I've actually have unbolted. It took me a day or two because it was just so annoying getting under here and unbolting everything, but I managed to do it. And I didn't want to drop the front suspension. I wanted to see if I could jack up the engine and slip the sump out. Well, according to the cross-section diagram, that is plainly obvious that that wouldn't work, and that's why people tell you, oh no, you can't take the sump off. Well, yeah, you can't. There's not enough space. So I've got the main cross member on a jack right now. I'm going to disconnect the steering box from the actual steering column and the hard lines connecting it to the power steering pump. I've got this supported. It's not unbolted yet, but I've just got it supported just so I can lower this. It's just so that the tension's on this when I unbolt it. I'm going to lower this down. I'm not going to withdraw or take the whole thing out. I think that's a bit unnecessary. And instead, I'm going to just lower it a few inches, probably the length of the brake line. Then take the one bolt holding this sump on, drop it, and see if I can slip it out that way. So I have 8 bolts to uninstall to get this front suspension out. Those 2 bolts, nylock was destroyed and wasn't actually held in. Those 2 bolts were loose. 2 bolts here, I didn't take those off, they were just never there. These 2 bolts here, that one was never there, that one was just very loosely in. This whole front suspension was about to just fall apart at any speed had I not done this. That's fuck cunt. Alright, update on removing this sump. We've almost got it out. The only issue is right in there. That front pickup is so very, very in the way. But only by a few millimeters, so I'm going to try jacking up the engine so it goes up, because I can't really drop the suspension anymore or I'm going to start ripping things out, which is not good. So we are so close to getting the sump out. Yeah, you can see all the sludge inside here, the baffle here, where the pickup would go down into the baffle. I say excuse the focus because I'm about to zoom in, and right there, can you see it? Right by this bolt here. I'll put up a picture on screen too, just in case this comes out pretty gnarly. But all over this sump pan are chunks of piston rings, just scattered throughout it. It looks like a compression ring rather than an oil ring. That is a smoking gun and justifies me in taking this sump off to get that piston out. So I'm happy and sad to see it in there. Sad to see it because, well, the piston ring shit itself. Happy to see it because, well, I was right. So the next step for me is I'm just going to focus on this block for now. The head I'll get to eventually, but I want to do everything down here first because this will pretty much determine whether I'll go ahead with fixing this engine. Don't think because I spent so much time on stripping this engine apart that that's the incentive alone to fix this. No, if it's uneconomic, I'll stop right now. But I just want to make sure that this is going to be repairable. While I can't feel any left to right or back and fro movement with the piston when I move it, with those smashed up piston rings, I can't feel any wear in here either, but I do feel a ridge up here and here, meaning that as the car was running, the piston was doing this sort of movement due to the rings being broken. On other cylinders it's not as pronounced, but on this one it's a bit more pronounced. So what I'll have to do now is pop this piston out, check out the rings and go from there. Okay, we're going handheld again. So I've got my newspaper ready. I've got my inch, half-inch. Important that it's a 12-point socket, because for the first time, look at that. The piston crank rod, con rod actually uses 12-point heads, which is very cool. I don't see that very often. But anyway, we're going to be taking this guy off. So I've just broken free, so I'm just loosening them now. Feels like they still had a decent amount of the torque on them. Doing surgery, aren't we? So okay, no washer, but yeah, 12-point. Put that on the newspaper. Up and down there. Oh shit! I want to move that around. Then we should be able to take this cap off. To get this main cap off, I'm just going to start pushing this piston up with this wooden handle, which goes further up than I thought. You know, the hammer's pretty much disappeared up there. So preload it. There we go. You can see. Now take this off. There we go. There's our bearing. And now we can just, oh yeah. Oh, that's just gonna push straight up. I thought I was gonna bang that out, but rightio. Let's get that out there. So up it goes. There she is. Oh Jesus. Oh, that's fucked, cunt. That is fucked. Hold on. Let me get this away from the block. This is bad. There it is. There it is. That's why my motor's been acting the way it has. It's got excessive crankcase pressure causing all the smoke. It's got 0 psi on cylinder 2, and it has excessive oil pressure at idle, 60 psi. While superficially good, we found out why. Anything that the piston was holding, it was holding nothing. The piston was destroyed. All 3 oil rings are gone. Shocked by this though. No scoring whatsoever on cylinder 2. I'm not joking. I run my finger up and down it. There's no scoring. There's no scoring whatsoever. We're on a winner. We are on a winner. I'm very confident in this engine. I think this engine still has some life left in it, amazingly. So, and I mean, for Christ's sake, you heard how good it sounded. Running on 5 cylinders, and it sounded that good, and everything was lubricated fine. There was no weird tapping noises. Not even like that clunk 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 clunk, or that dong 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 dong. It was fine. It was fine. Look, a few more kilometers and you would have had like a big end bearing noise. That's, you know, that's from the shagged piston, right? A few more miles and it would have got to that point. But you could hear like we're just in time to save this engine. And I will have my triple carb dual overhead cam naturally aspirated 6-cylinder. So I'm confident. It'll take a little bit of time though, a little bit of money, and that's it. No skill required. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time with some more updates.